We're going to spend the remainder of the morning exploring the different tracks. So we've been running a community co-design process this last 3 weeks called a mapathon. And anybody was free from the DAO to come along and put their ideas about what should be some of the focus areas, and we voted and ranked those and explored and put together some challenge statements that you can be solving against when you're coming up with your proposals. So the tracks that we came up with are also mirrored around the periphery of the room, like RWA just over here, which has got Sid's mugshot on there, and a little bit about the topic of RWA and some challenge statements and a flip chart. And so in a moment, we're going to ask each of the track hosts to come up and have 2 minutes to explain a little bit about their track. You handle the setup.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thanks for everyone to be waking up early and coming here to hear about what we're doing with all the tracks, and now hearing a bit more about the venture track. So I'm Anna, and I'm the co-lead of Arbitrum Venture Initiative, where we're basically trying to align all the ventures and build towards more of like an ecosystem fund for Arbitrum, to allow everybody an opportunity to build support for like builders beyond the grants, because the grants have their own, they have their place, but we need a bit more continuity in that support for builders. And then given the amount of interest that has grown like in Arbitrum quite massively in the past 2 years, we can only see like Arbitrum thriving and the community getting bigger and bigger and producing more talent and attracting more like companies of quality. So for this, we need to structure different types of supports, and venture is one way to do it. What venture provides is an incentive alignment. It allows people to come into that space and build skin in the game, and ultimately start that like emerging tech ecosystem. Also, with the ecosystem fund, the goal is to get like some ROI on ecosystem development, and we are kind of tackling like two goals, like short-term and long-term. Short-term, we need some sort of structure to understand and align these ventures, and long-term, we're looking towards more of like a bigger ecosystem fund, and also looking to create that flywheel for like the the community. So yeah, we are up on time, but these are some of the challenge statements we'll be tackling today. So yeah, just come by the ventures side and we'll talk about more.
Hello everyone, well this is the marketing track. We are super excited for this one. I'm Anna, community manager at the Arbitrum Foundation, and
hello, I'm Răzvan, but people here know me by 08. I got a fellowship for the marketing. Basically, I was assigned to be the Gandalf of the marketing fellowship, which has the goal of figuring out the decentralized marketing we're trying to do at Arbitrum DAO.
Yeah, well, in general, if you are into marketing, if you're a designer, or if you have crazy ideas or any idea on how we can improve Arbitrum's marketing in general, please reach out to us and join us. And in general, like decentralized communications are hard, but are very important, because we want to maintain a neutral environment, but it also has challenges. So here we want to solve or trying to find procedures to solve these challenges, and we are going to work in very fun stuff, as you can see. So yeah, you can join us for sure. As well to bring the best contributors to Arbitrum and positioning Arbitrum as a leader as well, to keep positioning as a leader Arbitrum. So yeah, see you here.
So a couple of words from me. I believe that because Arbitrum is kind of leading the way in the tech and is probably the most decentralized DAO of its size, we should try to have the same approach in our marketing. So at the moment, we have a plurality of multiple DAO accounts, which is great, but we would probably all benefit from more coordination on that. And as Anna wrote on the slide, our collective future basically depends on coordinating all our viewpoints together. And just as part of the fellowship, we actually launched a survey to the delegates, and we got really interesting feedback around trying to create culture for Arbitrum, like really empowering people to be Arbinauts in their communities, and also to kind of create a permissionless content pipeline. So.
I'm Disruption Joe on Twitter. You can just call me Joe if we're talking to each other. What we're interested in here is community IRL activation. What this isn't is let's put together a proposal for one event somewhere. What this is how do we create consistency, cadences, rituals, expectations, not just 3 months in advance where an organization has to come, fight for a budget, and put something together like this in 2 months, but that everybody in Arbitrum can know this is our yearly schedule. This is when we get together. You know, this is how we party and celebrate. All those things. So making a consistency of cadences, making the events higher quality, making it so you have time to prepare, make travel plans and all that. You know, that's the primary thing. And so some starting points you might think about if you want to join this group would be if you want to make a proposal by yourself or with a team on like a long-term plan to scale GovHack type events, consistent quarterly events, making virtual events, smaller local events, and you could even suggest these to the GovHack team rather than presenting it yourself and say, hey, here's a great idea for you guys. Once a year, awards event where we pay for travel for some of the top performers in the DAO. A lot of big organizations do that. How do we get MC Hammer at our event? Programs to support target developer communities outside of the Europe and US. So maybe meetup content and other smaller events, but on a regular, consistent basis. And continuous feedback models. So how do we continually gauge the sentiment of the DAO instead of proposals constantly going up and checking, does anybody care about that? Maybe we could make proposals about the things that people care about, and you don't waste your time making proposals about things people don't care about. So those are the starting ideas. Anything else that has to do with IRL, again, it's not about one proposal for one event. That's a smaller thing that would go to a smaller grant program.
Hi, I'm Matt Feebeck. I'm one of the co-founders of Entropy Advisors along with Sam over there. Entropy works exclusively with Arbitrum DAO, and at a high level, our scope of our work is basically drive strategic initiatives, drive proposals that benefit the DAO with no ulterior motives, align stakeholder interests, and then we're also happy to be a point of contact for people. So if there are people here who are interested in being more involved in the DAO and need someone to reach out to, of course you can reach out to Disruption Joe and many others, but we're happy to be that point of contact as well. Today we're talking about budget and revenue, but really what this means is how does Arbitrum DAO ensure sustainable spending? So today Arbitrum DAO has profit and revenue in the form of sequencer fees or protocol profit, whatever you want to call it. It comes from the delta or the difference in transaction costs, how much users pay, versus the total actual cost to post data availability and settlement back to Ethereum. In the future, we'll have a few other revenue streams. So right now we have the real world asset step program being set up, which should drive some more revenue. We have time boost in the process, which should extract a little bit of MEV revenue. But really what we want to do is we want to align the spends with those total revenue going to the DAO. At the end of the day, the DAO can spend more money than is actually being made, but it should be aligned. So if we want to spend 125% of what we're actually making every year, that's fine. That's what a growth company generally does. But that said, there should definitely be some processes in place instead of just nothing whatsoever. Sector-specific budgeting. So should we be allocating different amounts to different things? For instance, should X amount go to venture and X amount go to grants and X amount go to incentives and whatever else? But today we have nothing in the form of actual kind of organization around what this spending actually is. And then finally, how do we track spend over time? So it's not good to just spend money and then not reevaluate based on revenues that are currently changing. So over time, how do we make sure that we have processes in place that allow this to be an optimal structure? So yeah, if you want to talk DAO budget and revenue, please meet me over there. It's a very open-ended topic. There's lots of different things to talk about, and appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you for being here, inviting me here. So I'm David. I'm a program manager at the Arbitrum Foundation, and I'm focused on Orbit chains. So Orbit chains, they are a way of building custom blockchains using the Arbitrum technology in a permissionless manner. And so there's a lot of growth potential on orbits, and I'm just going to explain 2 reasons why, but there's so many. So the first one is that Arbitrum 1 is optimized for Ethereum compatibility, but orbit chains don't have to. And so there's a lot of potential innovation possibilities with that. The second one is that the Arbitrum technology is the most mature rollup technology at the moment, and what we are seeing is that a lot of developers are actually looking to fork the code and test with it. And so if we are thinking in a world in the future, in the very near future, where there's going to be a lot of hundreds, thousands of orbit chains, the problem is, how do we create a playing field for everyone? So we give a funding program that allows everyone to fairly be rewarded and contribute into their own orbit's growth. And so at the moment, we have to negotiate and agree on that with each of the orbits, but that's not scalable. And so that brings me to the problem statement that I want to work with you today. And so it's about building a funding program with a set of metrics and KPIs that where like any orbit can basically achieve those and get rewarded for that. So meet me over there. I'll be on that table. I'm looking forward to work with you and explain, talk, discuss about everything about orbit chains. Thank you.
My name's Matt. I'm with the Arbitrum Foundation. I'm a developer advocate there. I'm actually fairly new to the Arbitrum ecosystem, being only here a month. So great to meet and work with you all. Yeah, thank you. Challenge statements. Well, first of all, what is DevRel, developer relations? Because a lot of people have a very different idea of it. So I'm just going to define it just so that people know in this room what I'm talking about this and what we want to be talking about over there. So developer relations is about nurturing and building a strong Arbitrum developer community. It's about fostering innovation and providing support and resources to people that are building. And it's about effective engagement with the community and building that community. Now, DevRel borders on a lot of other topics on here. There are people here talking about community, people talking about venture. There's a lot of areas here that developer relations borders onto. But anyway, I'm going to be over there, DevRel and builders over there. We've got a number of challenge statements about how do we help enable developers to build on top of Arbitrum, and also how do we inspire developers as well? How do people find out what is possible to build, what they might want to build? How can they see what successful projects have been built? And more importantly, how have they been built? What technologies, what approaches did they take within the Arbitrum ecosystem to get where they are so that other developers can feel inspired and empowered to do a similar kind of thing? And also metrics, how can we actually measure that impact? Developer relations is a very big sort of fluffy thing. How do we actually measure the impact that we're having so that we know where to allocate resources, time and money and energy into that? So yeah, so that's me. Thanks very much. I'll be over there in the Builder and DevRel section over there. Thanks.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Sid. I'm from Moretta, and I'm going to be leading the RWA's track today. Thanks everyone for joining us here. So let's jump to it. So why RWAs? So, I think that all of us know here that there is significant potential for RWAs in crypto and, in the entire blockchain ecosystem. It's one of the premier use cases, and we've only scratched the tip of the iceberg till now. And, the demand and attention within Arbitrum is there. We've seen it with STEP. There were 33 applications. Like we said, we attracted BlackRock and Franklin Templeton. And this is only the first step, pardon the pun. RWAs is a tokenization of real-world assets. So you have a real-world financial instrument or any other kind of instrument, and you tokenize it, you put it on the blockchain, you track it, you allow people to invest in it. And, that has significant potential to grow. RWAs at the moment are underserved within Arbitrum. They made up a very low amount of grants last year. We think that these assets have found product market fit, and there's a lot of assets that can be tokenized and put in the blockchain. And we think that Arbitrum has a great opportunity to position itself as a leader in this space, especially because RWAs really interface well with the DeFi ecosystem that Arbitrum has developed to date. We think that, the main challenge is the things that we need to solve. We need to define strategy about how to grow this vertical within Arbitrum and prioritize exactly how we want to do so. And there's a lot of blockers that we need to solve to do this. And in terms of, some of the challenge statements, some pointers, increasing liquidity for RWAs, the individual assets. How do we make them more easy to access and invest in for retail and institutions? And what should the short, medium, and long-term strategy be for Arbitrum to engage with RWAs? And, really excited to work with you guys all on this. I'm going to be right there. And, yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, sweet. Hey, guys. I'm CoolHorseGirl, or CHG, if that's easier. I lead BD at Tally. I think you guys are usually probably used to hanging out with Frisian, but he'll be here tomorrow. And I'm going to support him a bit till then. So, this track's called GovTech. I think some things that I want to point out about it that's really cool is that a lot of the things we talked about in the introductions are probably going to apply to GovTech. So you think about what could be improved within the DAO. This could be building on something we already have, like making improvements to Tally. Or it could be building an entirely new thing. I think the projects can be big and small out of this one. And the main challenges are the ones we talked about just a few minutes ago. So enhancing participation, reducing friction, improving transparency. There's probably like 1 billion you can think of. I think I mentioned combating entrenched power. Any ideas you have about improving governance or the governance processes of Arbitrum can come through this track. And I'm going to be in the back left, right near Clifton, there.
Hey, folks. Rick Johansson, nice to meet you. Pretty new to the Arbitrum ecosystem. Did launch my last company on Arbitrum, but it was a fintech company. Lucas is on his way. I'm hosting the gaming track. So we are all part of the GCP working group. I'm happy to talk about that at a later time. This is actually about solving some problems that we will hope to uncover and solve as part of the Gaming Catalyst program. My counterparts will be here shortly, but our theme is really centered around a mission to enhance the developer experience. Games is growing. Here are some reasons to believe. We're going to see some explosive growth, specifically in gaming as an industry. Arbitrum has an opportunity to penetrate that market and really define something uniquely Arbitrum. Huge explosive growth until 2030, especially in mobile. But Web 2 game publishers and developers are going to continue to experiment in Web 3. Immutable and Ubisoft as an example. And we really aim to capture this market, but to do so, we have to improve the developer experience, what it's like to build, onboard, and ship games. And by doing so, we have to swim deeply and solve acutely with the issues and problems that developers experience while launching within Arbitrum and in Web3 in general. And so this is an opportunity to truly understand that user journey. I hope that folks here have some experience with that. My counterparts absolutely do, coming from Helica. So I do invite you to come to our booth, which is right here, and share your experiences if you happen to have developed games on Arbitrum. But I'm really excited to partner with you all.
So I'm Luca. I work on product at Espresso. You may know us from Cape, which was a privacy application that we deployed to Arbitrum some years ago. And more recently, we've been working with Off-Chain Labs to research decentralized sequencing. Decentralized sequencing is also the topic of our track that I'm hosting here. I think one thing I'd like to explore with you all is some of the pros and cons of decentralized sequencing. So I've listed a few here, but it's not really an exhaustive list, but you can think of some of the pros as being making the system more permissionless. So if you have a decentralized sequencer set, you don't need to necessarily go through the escape hatch. In case of censorship, it may be easier to have that in the protocol directly. In terms of interoperability, you can have better latency and better UX for the end users if you have stronger pre-confirmations through a decentralized sequencer. In terms of the cons, on the other flip side, latency can be slower for regular transactions because decentralized sequencing may add some overhead, so that's something to keep into account. And it may also add complexity because you need to add more code and you need to potentially add, new parts to the overall stack. Some of the goals that I'd like to achieve is for the DAO to sort of align on which issues related to decentralization in the stack they deem important. So whether it's the sequencer itself or maybe just the pre-confirmations or anything else. I'd love to explore all of that. And hopefully we can come up with some solutions that we can then propose and perhaps even implement. I also have some challenge statements here. Some of these also are a bit more related to interoperability as opposed to decentralization. So one is mostly related to orbit chains. If you want to explore these challenge statements, I'm over there at the Decentralized Sequencer booth, so thank you all. Cool.